Hey everybody, my name is Jay and this is I Have a Samurai. Today we're going to go over, this will be my first video with Amy, my new main character, who's actually my old main character. Definitely a very complicated character, somebody who I don't actually use all of the tools that she has available to her just yet. In fact, I don't think anybody does. Most of her tools are incredibly strong, some of them are not really all that strong. If you're completely new to Amy, the whole idea is that every single character in the game basically has to play a spacing game against Amy. They're not able to outmash her, and once you get in, you're able to create such a large amount of annoying pressure that it's going to be very difficult for any character to deal with. So the whole idea is to space out. This is an online set. I'm just going to play like a handful of games, but Sandman and I had a really long set. Sandman's going to be the Aswell player on the left, with me playing Amy on the right, and I'll kind of pause the video as I kind of go over some of the basic mechanics that we're dealing with here. So you can kind of tell that one of the first ideas that he has is to space me out with stuff like Spear, which was successful earlier on in the set as well. I have a tough time against Spear. Here we got, one of the other things that Amy has is incredibly good unseeable lows. You see me, one thing that I should mention, if you guys are completely unfamiliar with Amy, she's essentially like a ramp-up type character. You've got two different kinds of roses, which will be the enders of most of her combos at the very beginning. You've got red rose and you've got white rose. Each one of them gives you a different set of tools, and if you can get both of them, then you're in purple, and you can basically combine both of the tools of both roses. You're gonna see that I don't use white rose at all. There are essentially two schools of thought at the moment when it comes to Amy. There is the ramp up Amy, which Sandman likes to do, and I believe Ninja Guy likes to do, where you go for white, and then white makes it significantly easier to get red, and then you're at purple and you're just incredibly powerful. Then you have people like me who I don't really go for roses much at all. I go for red as soon as I can, just so I have certain tools that she gets. For instance, like her unseeable lows become stronger, her damage becomes stronger. It's kind of like a red-only type of style. The reason why I don't really necessarily like using white rose is, for one, you can't get a white rose that's guaranteed off of a low, and I also don't really like the okie situations that I'm put in once I hit somebody with a white rose. They're significantly worse than with a red rose. And when I'm going for a ramp up, I feel like my style becomes very predictable. It becomes much more linear. People already predominantly know about the move that you just saw, the 1B, and they know about 2-2B, which are incredibly strong moves, but they're also incredibly linear. And not a lot of people are talking about her horizontals, which is something that I tend to gear more towards, if only because my opponents already know about the linear strong moves. And I also tend to go for like the auto GIs, which you'll hopefully see later. I definitely did not want that 2B, but that was a good punish from Sandman. You see me trying to use the auto GI there after the axe low. So I think that's my third red rose. You see me kind of going through a stance there. Sandman just decides to screw the whole thing. 3BA is predominantly punishable. The only reason why he wasn't able to punish there was because of his axe stance, which is one of the main reasons why I used it. I like to toy around with 3BA, as in just doing 3B, then waiting for them to duck, then come back up while I start doing a 1B for like another unseeable low, and it's just kind of like a stirring type of timing that is very reminiscent of Soul Calibur 4. But yeah, I lose the first two rounds there pretty quickly, and I don't have any roses yet either. This is a very difficult situation for Amy due to the fact that she's very much not a comeback character. You kind of have to be doing moderately well throughout the whole set. Here you're starting to see me using some of like the auto GI stances. So you've basically seen every single move that I have off of the low parry. I've got that unseeable low kick, I've got a horizontal that's pretty fast, and then I also have the B, which he was just able to step there. Predominantly you have people who are now starting to react to me doing the low parry, so that they're going to try to block low to deal with the kick, which means that I can then start setting up for things like the low parry A and the low parry B, which are both mids. There, I catch him again. There I got him with the mid, which is a high parry mid. Her stance game is probably her most powerful tools, at least in my opinion. You're talking about literally every possible option that you could want. You've got lows, unseeable lows, you've got safe lows, you've got mids that launch, you've got horizontals, you've got everything that you could want, and you can shuffle through them incredibly quickly. Now, see, there is a setup that you're going to be seeing a lot more. And also right here, I like using 6-6A a lot, which is that little, like, kind of like twirl that I end up doing to try and get in. Because obviously the whole point of aiming is to try and get in as soon as possible. And 6-6A on its own is -12. You can punish it just like he punished it earlier. But I can also cancel into one of the stances, any stance that I want, to potentially give myself a 1 out of 3 chance of hitting his punish. So a lot of what I tend to do, and what I think a lot of aiming players should do, is throw out these kinds of moves at the beginning of a set to try and get an idea as to what the opponent's going to want to do, and then GI appropriately later on. So a lot of like fast characters, they normally have an I-10 or an I-12 AA that they like to use, which is a high. So you can start doing 6-6A high parry, and then you get like the whole combo that you're going to see here. It can be a really powerful thing to get. Now this is off of like a safe mid, so you can see like the kind of damage that you're talking about with a character that's supposed to be really low damage.
There's the 9B work.
There I don't punish the axe low appropriately. You can do 4-6B for like the whole lethal hit thing, but seeing as how I have red rose, probably 6-6BA is more appropriate. 4AA, that's my favorite low. It's a red rose kind of thing, and it's easily my most favorite thing in the whole game.
Oh, he caught me.
There I catch him out of the air into a mid parry, which again gives me pretty sizable damage. And there you see me catch him with 4AA. So you saw that I caught him with 4BB, which is the move that put him behind me. Predominantly, especially at that spacing, something that I could do is just another 4BB, which is a mid that he has to stand up for. He can't really roll it either. So hitting him with the unseal below 4AA, it forces him to guess. 4AA is punishable, but the whole point is that I'm forcing him into a 50-50 guess.
Glad I used the soul charge though, because I got my meter back.
So there I tried to go for a mid parry. And this is really, this whole series right here is exactly what I think Amy's most powerful with. So you saw there, he's past half-life, already gone. And what did I hit him with? I hit him with 3A, which is a tech crouching, plus 10 on counter hit, mid horizontal move, right? And then I caught him with AAA, which does a sizable amount of damage, not particularly a high commitment either, and then 4AA, which is a bit of a commitment, I suppose, and he's constantly trying to step, and every single time I hit him, he's in the exact same situation he was in before. So we're talking about constantly cycling through this massive amount of pressure that she can get off of very low committal type of things, and in the entire time he has to worry about me finally doing a 2-2B, finally doing a 1B, finally doing an auto GI, so I have counterplay to any of his panic buttons as well. The entire thing can be a guessing game if you play Amy correctly. This is really more my kind of style, which is constant pressure with safe kind of stuff that is playing off of the fact that I already know my opponent knows about my strongest tools, which are all linear, so I tend to go for mostly horizontals. And I tend to jam 4AA into as many situations as I can just because of how long it is, the kind of frames that I get, when it's on hit, the spacing that it provides me at the very end. There I sack my punish so I can go for a 1B to kind of get like a knockdown. Now see, he kind of went for, I assume that if you thought about it, he could have just straight up punished the 6-6A because he had the sword, but at the same time, I could have parried, and so I end up just getting 6-6A raw, and I get in for free, essentially. So I was able to pull that game out. And so here you can kind of tell like the sheer speed at which that I can cancel through stances. And most of the options, even when he's correct, I'm basically totally safe. It's not even mine. I'm not entirely sure on the frames, but like high parry B, high parry K, mid parry A, K, these are all launcher mids or lows that will get me roses if need be, and they're all completely safe. High parry K is even completely safe to reversal edge. Even high parry B is safe to reversal edge against some characters. So I can constantly be cycling through all of the stuff that you're seeing here, and even when he's correct, I'm constantly jabbing him out of it anyway. I think this is going to be like the main thing that I've been focusing on for the most part, and what I'm going to continue to focus on in the future. So here I'm going to try and like wait it out to try and kill himself. 1A into the parry isn't really all that great. That was an accident. Basically 1A is kind of a pointless unseeable low, I think, if only because 4A basically does everything that 1A does, except it's better. The one thing that I do consider to be jank that I end up doing that will not be all that effective in the future are moves that cancel into a particular stance. So you remember how I said 6-6A, I can cancel into whatever stance that I like? There's a lot of moves where if I hold down the button, I can cancel into more stances, but it's a specific stance that I have to cancel into right then, right there. And because my hand is sort of forced as to what parry I'm doing, that effectively means 2/3 of all hits are guaranteed to hit me there. So it's not even really like a cancel to make me safer. It's kind of just changing which the punish is going to be. If they were to make Amy any better, I would really hope that they make it so that you are able to cancel into the moves where you have to cancel into a particular parry, into a particular hit level. They make it so that you can cancel into whatever hit level you have. I don't think it would be broken because again, 2/3 of the time you're going to get hit anyway. If I'm doing a high parry, you can still hit me with mids or lows, and yada yada. So I think it would just make it so that it's significantly more viable rather than just kind of like a janky thing that's only going to work on people who aren't aware of Amy's tools. See, 4A on hit is incredibly good too. I can always parry, which my opponent has to worry about. I was able to get red rose with a round up. That's really good. You see there's still not a lot of people doing this, but Sandman already knows 6-6BA, which is the move that you just saw. The A is a high. Even once you see the break attack, it's totally a high. So it's definitely something that you have to get used to. But at the same time, I can do 6-6B and then cancel into a parry and try to set up pressure in that way instead. Also, my wall rising punishes are really awful. I think that's something that's not necessarily intuitive playing Amy, is what you're going to do with wall rising punishes. You see me doing 2-3-6 to try and get to duck under one of those like axe projectiles that Aswell can do, and you see him throw out the Such Brilliance parry there, which I think is incredibly effective against Amy. There's a lot of moves that like will even push me. Aswell will push himself too far away for it. It kind of happened there. It'll push him too far away for me to be effective. Because unfortunately, the biggest weakness that Amy has is for sure her range. What incredible hitboxes there. I was 100% right. That made me really sad. So you see here, he completely was right about my launcher, but I kept pressing buttons anyway, because I'm Amy, and I'm right in front of your face, so I can. There he didn't duck it, and so I went for AA, which, because I'm in Red Rose, does actually a sizable amount of damage, AAA. Here you can kind of see me, again, look at that damage. Look at the damage off of like a really small, like, quote-unquote low damage character, which, came off of a completely safe launcher that I have like a reverse mix-up afterwards. These are some really strong things. Essentially, I think one of the things that I really love about Amy is the fact that, those kinds of meaty setups aren't going to work because I have the parries. Having the parries afforded to you essentially allows me to always have an answer for any situation I want. What you're seeing here is a little kind of janky. It's not normally something I do. That's high parry A, which puts me in this really weird situation of backing up to potentially create like a whiff punish, but also puts me back turned on block so I can go into B plus K. Now, if he does like a traditional BB, I'm going to get hit. So it's not really something that I tend to look for all that much. But yeah, I'm just constantly shuffling through stances to create a situation that he's going to have a tough time with. Nice punish into plus frames, but I have a parry. You might have seen that earlier on in the games as well, where he put me at plus in that exact same situation, the break attack, but then he just kind of moved around as opposed to taking advantage of his frame advantage because he's worried about a parry just like there. But yeah, that's going to be the first video that I'm going to do for Amy, and as time goes on, maybe I'll totally change my mind. Maybe I'll think that white roses are actually something that's incredibly viable. Maybe a patch is going to come out that's going to change how Amy works, in which case certain tools are going to be less powerful and other ones will be stronger. But as far as I can tell right now, my personal opinion, going for red rose as soon as you can, and then constantly working off of pressure as is really the way to go. I think that's really where her power lies. I think the auto GIs do not need to get any stronger in order for them to be incredibly viable. White rose does make them more powerful, but it's not necessary. If you can get really well ingrained with what your opponent's timing is going to be, I think Amy heavily rewards somebody who's very smart and somebody who's really paying attention to what the opponent's going to do and trying to use the opponent's momentum against them. But that's going to be my first video with Amy, and I hope to see you guys later on. All right, thanks very much.